So next I'd like to welcome Jan Richards, past president of ALIA and now with Jan Richards Consulting, to share her takeaways from today's webinar and to close the event. And welcome, Jan, lovely to see you, and over to you.
Thanks, Monica. So as Monica said, I'm Jan Richards. I'm a recently retired public librarian who is still working in the public library and wider environment as a consultant. And I've got a great interest in digital preservation. So I'm joining you today from the lands of the Palawa people of southern Tasmania, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. And I'd also like to extend that respect to any First Nations people who are with us today. I'm actually joining you from beautiful Bruny Island on a perfect spring afternoon. So what a great afternoon we've shared. And I'd really like to thank the program committee, Monica, Roxanne, Kate Davis, who we haven't seen online, and Vicky McDonald for their work and commitment in continuing to put together innovative information following the original online, so our online conference programs. And how lucky are we that we can sit in the comfort of our home or our office and see such wonderful programs. But we couldn't have programs like this without the calibre of our fantastic speakers. And I'd like to thank them all for providing their time and expertise, especially today as there's a couple of other similar conferences on at the same time. So they've been running from one to the other. Each of them has brought their individual experience and perspective, and at the same time offering us takeaways that often cross over and reinforce the message. Nancy had many important messages, but for me, the one that stood out was the importance of taking your colleagues and your community on the journey if you want to be successful, and the wisdom of working collaboratively. And I think that that's something that libraries and archives are so good at. The whole GLAM sector, actually, we do work collaboratively, we work well together, and we learn from each other and we support each other. And I think that all of the speakers that we have heard today have spoken about how that interaction has been really important in getting things to happen. I must admit that Nancy's presentation, not preservation, took me back to the 1980s, which shows my age, when we proudly wore nitrate won't wait buttons to reinforce the fragility of some of the national collections. And I think my button is still tucked away somewhere, along with the other badges and buttons I've worn over the years. The panel of Andrea, Libor, Carey and Alexis, led by Jay, was clear and concise. Keep it simple and base your roadmap on your experience and knowledge base. Carey's instruction that a lot of key principles still apply was good advice. Think about what you already know before you go off. And again, we heard those words about people. We heard the terms leader, advocate and champion, which ties back to Nancy's words to make sure that you bring people on board with you and you use people to advocate for you and for the importance of the work that you're doing in digitising their heritage collections and other resources. Asti's presentation on time-based art provided a totally different perspective and gave us a chance to consider some of the obstacles that are faced in this area. As someone who, before she retired, was co-located with an art gallery and time-based art coming in, I could really feel for some of the things that she was talking about, and about how some of the artists actually didn't think about the practicalities of getting the piece to work. But she also spoke very passionately about the skill set that you need to be able to work and to go forward in this area. And so it's a time to think about what's different. You know, are the skill sets that we need, what we've traditionally thought of for our profession. And this, of course, ties back with ALIA's current direction about looking at our profession and our professional education. And once again, we heard about partnerships, which she termed a natural combination. And to wrap up, we heard from Edward and Axel, who took us into the world of Born Digital, of news and social media, so relevant to the world that we are living in and to our everyday life. And your questions that Monica was able to ask at the end, I look forward to being able to read the Twitter feed because they are so pertinent. Loved the response to Monica's question, well, why do it? You know, why save it? And the response, because it's who we are, we must learn from our past. And isn't that the truth? Isn't that why libraries have always existed? Why we've collected books and magazines and manuscripts, so that we can learn from our past. So why would it be different in the digital age? I think I can say that there's still a good deal of uncertainty in this space as regards, you know, our colleagues, how do we go forward? But I would recommend that we take the advice of Libor and follow the Nike principle and just do it. And reach out to friends. There's always a friend there in the glam sector to help you and to give you advice and to hold your hand. To each and every one of you, thank you for sharing the afternoon with us. It's been a real treat. And keep well, keep safe, and keep on being the champions that you are. Bye and have a great night.